We are continuing on our series of motion design in Unreal Engine. In this video, we are going to look how you can use chaos in Unreal Engine, how you can fracture the geometries and apply different materials to internal and external parts of the object. So without any delay, let's jump into the video. I have opened a blank level here and I have named it to chaos fracture. We are going to look at how you can use chaos. So I have named that level according to that. Now, if you are following with me from the past 3 videos for the motion design in Unreal Engine, you have already enabled the chaos plugin. But if you are new to this channel or if you are watching directly this video, you need to go to edit, you need to go to plugins and you need to make sure that chaos plugin is turned on. So just turn on the chaos Niagara and chaos solver if you want to go for some really high quality sims here. So let's just enable both of them and just restart the engine. Now you are ready with me to work on this. Now what we are going to do, we are going to import our custom models here to basically fracture the scene. But before doing that, you need to take care of some things so your collisions and all the stuff works properly here. So let's just go to my 3D model. I'm going to use the skull which I have used in the previous video as well. And I'm going to use this custom plane that Unreal Engine provides. So let's just delete this here and let's just drag and drop this custom cylinder. You can say it's basically a studio setup that I am going to use here to break my skull. And one more thing you need to make sure in order to use the chaos plugin, you need to make sure that you have the collisions as well when you are importing the models from external 3D app or maybe downloading from some free websites like Sketchfab. So just click on this. Now you need to double click here and you need to make sure that in here when you scroll downwards, you need to make sure that your collision complexity is use complex collision as simple, or else your object is not going to collide with your surface here. So you need to make sure that you are using this use complex collision as simple. Just save it out and close it. And now I'm going to import my skull as well. But before importing the skull, same procedure needs to be done for skull as well. In order to use the collision, just double click it here and just make sure by going downwards you are having this use complex collision as simple. And now I am ready to use the chaos for this stuff. And now just drag and drop it here. And as you know, this is really small. So let's just go for 80 size here. Now you can say it's something like this. Let's just rotate it 90 degree here and 180 degree here as well. So now you can see we are having this skull here which we are going to use. Okay, the scaling also matters. So let's just check the scaling, what scale we are using. So if I create a cube here, you can see my skull is really big compared to my cube here. Okay, so I'm going to just resize it to maybe 60 because I want to go for some realistic scale. Okay, so let's just go for this. Now let's just delete it. You can see we haven't applied any material yet. So let's just apply a material as well. I have created some materials of basic material. So let's just apply this material to our skull. And let's just apply this material to our BG here. So now you can see we have this scene something looking like this. Just keep saving your stuff because Chaos, Niagara and all are using your full GPU. So it's better to save when you get the crash, you have the save data with you. Now let's just go here from selection mode to fracture. And now you can see we are having this stuff here. You will see something like this in the starting. So just extend this out and just make sure that you have this something like this. Just go to your outliner. Okay, and now you can see we are having this. When I click on play, you can see we are having this character here because we are using the third person template. But I don't want to use this. So I'm going to go to my world settings here. I'm going to make sure that game mode override is now set to my game mode only. And now if I click on play, you can see it's just playing this level. Okay, now let's just set up our basic collision here. Okay, when the object falls, it collides with this ground. So just click on your object which you want to fracture and collide. Now click on the new here. It will create a geometry cache. So basically whenever you are using chaos, it's going to create a geometry cache, and that geometry cache needs to be created in order to use the fracture and all that stuff. So I have created a chaos folder here. Okay, and I'm going to name it to gc underscore skull here. Okay, and let's just create a geometry collision. As soon as you do that, you will find there is a checker pattern here. So let me just zoom in here. Okay, you can see this is a checker pattern, and if I click outside, you can see our material is gone. It's not gone anywhere. Basically, it's showing you the fracture view, the geometric cache view. Okay, so if I press the shortcut key Shift plus B, B is for ball. So if I press Shift plus B by selecting the object, and now you can see something has changed. So let's just click outside, and now you can see we have our material back here. Okay, now let's just fracture this out. So it goes from generate then to fracture, and then you can output the mesh here. Okay, so here in fracture there are various options that you can use for fracture. There is uniform, there is cluster, there is radial, planar, slice, break, mesh, and custom. Okay, we are going to use the uniform here. So just select your geometry cache, which is this. You can see it's written GC underscore skull here. And let's just click on uniform. As soon as you do it, you will find a box, and it is having some cuts inside. Okay, and right now you can see it's having like 20 by 20 cuts. So minimum and maximum cuts right now are going to be 20. If you want, you can increase it and take it up to 50, 100 according to your requirement. But don't go too much high, because it is going to take a lot on your GPU. So it's better if you are going to use lots of high values, just cache them out. I'm going to make sure that I'm right now working on the default values, and let's just click on fracture here. As soon as I do that, you can see something has happened, but you cannot see the fracture. So if you remember, you need to select the mesh, press Shift plus B, and now we can see the geometry cache here. And now you can see we are having this mesh, and this mesh is having basically 55 number of bones. So bones is your basically pieces that are going to be made. Okay, now in order to play this out, okay, I'm again going to press Shift B. So we are having this material mode, and if I click on play right now, you can see it has crashed here and it's not breaking here. Okay, you can see it's working beautifully with our physics, but it's not breaking. So let me just play it again for you, and you can see it's not breaking here. Okay, why it's not breaking? Because the joints are basically having a damage control, and they are stick together. So we need to decrease the damage control to remove that stickiness that they are basically joined with. Okay, how you can do that? In order to do that, you need to select your GC skull here. Here you need to find a damage. So let's just write damage here. Okay, in your detail panel, not in world settings. Okay, so let's just close this world settings here, and let's just type here damage. Okay, and you can see here it's having a damage threshold. So basically the joints are sticking with each other. We need to decrease the value in order to basically break the object. So right now it's set to 50,000, 5 lakhs and 5,000. Okay, let's just do 000 for all the stuff here. Okay, so let's just do 000 here. And now if I click on play, you can see my object is breaking beautifully here. Okay, let's just pause it again, and let's just play it again so you can see here. And now if you want to see the fracture part, what you can do, you can select the mesh as well, the whole mesh. Okay, so here I am selecting my whole mesh here, and it's selecting only one part. Okay, if you want to select all the parts, just click on this all, and now your all parts are selected. Okay, now what I can do, I can just select my GC skull, and I can press Shift B again. So now I can see the fracture piece. Okay, and now if I click on play, you can see it's fracturing according to the pieces that we have made here. Okay, this is really simple, guys. Fracturing in real time is really good with Chaos Niagara. Okay, you can use it for your games, for your visualization purpose, for your cinematics and all that stuff. But right now we are using for motion design. Now let's say you are liking this result, but when it fractures, no, you want another material inside that fracture. So how you can do that as well? So let's just click on this. Let's just press Shift B again. Okay, and now you can see this is having that default material. Now what you need to do, you need to scroll downwards here, and here you will find what we tell a material utility. Okay, you need to click on this material utility, and here you will find we are having a material slot here. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to click on this material slot. Okay, add material slot here. Okay, let's just make it downward a bit. Okay, you need to select your mesh here, and right now you can see we are having this add material slot here. So we are going to add a material slot. Right now we are having two elements here and two elements are having a same material here. So here is our new material and here is our index one new material. So let's say we want to have a different color. Let's say this color here, which we see. So let's just drag and drop it here. Okay. And here I am going to make sure that one is having only internal faces. Okay. Internal means the inside faces which are going to fracture, and just click on assign material. Okay. And just make sure that 0 is having all faces. Okay. So you can do that as well. And now if I click on play here, and now you can see we are having that yellow material inside that uh, fracture which we have done. Okay. So you can add more fractures as well. So let's say you want to have like uh two different colors on your skull here. So you can do that as well. Just click on this interactive, select this part. Okay, right now it's selecting all the parts, but now I can select one part. So let's say I want a different color here. Okay, here as well. Okay, so I want like a different color here. So what I can do, I can just select this, go to my material. Okay, can just add a material slot. So now I am having a index 2. So let's just select this index 2 here. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that only external faces are having this color. Okay, and let's just assign it. And now if I click here, you can see we are having a different material here. So you can again change the material here as well. So let's just click on the material. But before doing that, let's just click on our skull and let's just replace this, let's say, with our pink color. Okay, so let's just replace this. And now you can see we are having this pink and that purple color as well. And when I click on play, okay, it's going to basically break and have that yellow color as well. So this way you can have multiple color options in your skull here. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that I look something like this, and now you can say it's breaking beautifully here. Okay, you can make much more fractures here by adding a uniform, and you can also use a planar as well. Okay, so let me show you how you can do that as well. So let's just delete this skull here again. Okay, I am going to import my skull again here. So I'm going to go to my 3D models and let's just import the skull here. I'm going to show more options to you guys. Okay, so let's just do maybe 70 here. Okay, let's just rotate this like 90 degrees, and let's just rotate here as well in 90 degrees as well, 180 degree. Okay, now let's just do one thing. Let's just apply a fracture here. So let's just click on new. Let's revise it with me. So let's just click on new, then click on your chaos folder. Let's just name it to skull fracture. Okay, and let's just create a geometry cache. And now you can see we have created a geometry cache. Okay, let's just press shift B again to see the material. We haven't applied any material, so you can do that as well. Okay, but I want to show you one more method, which is a planar method as well. So just click on planar and now you have this plane here. Okay, and how it fractures. So basically you need to play with your noise and your frequency. So if I take my noise to, let's say, 25 here, so you can see there is a noise in this plane here. Okay, and if I take my frequency to, let's say, 3, you can see we are having this frequency noise here. Okay, you can see that as well here. Okay, so you can see we have applied this noise pattern here. Okay, and you can just make it rotate a bit or something like that. You can do as well in your noise and all that stuff. Okay, now I have done this. I am going to click on fracture. It is going to take some time. And now if you see here, I have the fracture as well. Okay, so if I click on play, you can see it's not fracturing and it's now fracturing. It's doing some really weird things. Okay, but I have fractured this, but I want it to be in the mesh export now. I don't want this to basically be geometry cache. So you can do that as well. Okay, you need to make sure that your mesh is selected. Then you need to go here in your utilities, and here you will find two mesh option. Okay, just click on that. And now you can see we are having this per bone. Per bone means your per fracture. So right now we are having a 33 per fracture. So you can make sure it is turned on here. If you want only one mesh, you can turn this off as well. Okay, so it will not have the per bone, it will have the single mesh. Then you can do a center pivot, and you can make sure that when new geometry is created, you have this select new actors, and you need to make sure that your all stuff is selected. Okay, not just a single part, all parts are selected. Okay, and now if click on convert here, it will ask me for the folder. I am just going to remove this GC, and I am just going to take this curl static mesh ahead here. Okay, so SM underscore skull fracture. Okay, something like this. And let's just save it here. And now you can see it's asking for me to save the scene. And now you can see we are having this SM skull fracture here. Okay, let's just hide the GC here. And now you can see we are having this skull fracture here. Okay, and we are having a single mesh here, but we are having like two materials here. Okay, and you can apply two materials, different material in the inside and different material outside. But when I click on play, you can see basically it's having a ghosting effect and it's colliding here. So what I can do, I can just delete this skeletal mesh that I have created right now. So let's just right click and delete it. Let's just click here again, and now I'm going to show you the another option. When I click on to mesh, and this time I'm going to do per bone here. Okay, just make sure that you select this per bone here. Okay, and let's just convert it again, and let's just name it to this only. Okay, so we can see what exactly is going to happen. Now it's taking some time to load. Okay, it's going to ask me to save. I'm going to save it here. Okay, but now you can see I am having all the fractures here. Okay, so if I hide my this fracture here, so now you can see I'm having this fracture. See, okay, so I can use this fracture as well. See, okay, and I can apply different materials as well to this different parts, something like this if you want to do. Okay, if you, let's say, let's apply a material here. Okay, let's say a material something like this. Okay, to all my stuff, to all my basically fracture stuff. Okay, if you don't want to do this, you have the another method as well, so you can use that as well. So whenever you are doing this, just make sure that you have the materials applied, or else you need to apply it one by one. Okay, so let's say I want to apply a material that we have done. So what you need to do, you need to click on the GC here. You need to go to your material in the utilities. Okay, then you need to make sure that you have one material applied here. Okay, so now you have that material applied. Now you click on the material, your GC, and now add one more material. So add a material slot. Okay, let's just add let's say this color here. Okay, so this I want index 1 to be my internal face. So I'm going to do the only internal faces and assign material. Okay, so now I have that internal faces with me. And now when I export it out, okay, so let's just go to mesh, and let's just make sure that all the things are selected. Okay, and let's just select our GC, and let's just convert it here. Okay, and I'm going to just create a new folder here. Skull fracture. Okay, and I'm just going to save it here, and it's going to take some time. And once it is done, you can see you need to save the stuff. And now if I hide my GC skull fracture, now you can see we have this. And when I move this, you can see beautifully we are having this texture inside as well. Okay, so you can create a motion design stuff, something like this, or maybe the teeth is going outside, or maybe the skull is breaking here. Okay, something like this. Whatever you want to do, you can easily do it here.